Bob Odenkirk, 4 seasons into Better Call Saul. What's the biggest question you still have about Jimmy?
Well, like everybody, I wonder what's going to happen to Ray, to Kim's character, Ray's character, Kim Wexler, because I don't feel like they could be together when Jimmy has become Saul, and when we see him in Breaking Bad. I just don't see how they live together. What's the biggest question at this point in 4? I guess let's say he's compartmentalized this idealistic version of him, younger version of himself, Jimmy McGill, and he saw Goodman, and he's scamming people and working with real bad folks and just trying to con his way through life. What is that good part of them, the good-hearted part of him that really wanted acceptance and respect? Is it completely disappeared, or are there moments where it peeks through? Is it kind of a question? So in a way, I'm asking, like, what does Saul Goodman's day look like? What does his week look like? Does he even help anyone out of any sense of humanity? And is there any of that left in his world? Or is he literally just doing that job, going to strip clubs, getting drunk, playing golf, and obliterating himself?
And I guess that's the big question, because a big challenge for you guys coming into the series was, how do you make this Saul Goodman character endearing?
And because who wants to watch a guy who's that awful all the time? So they did. I mean, Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould, who wrote Better Call Saul, they just did an amazing job of making Jimmy McGill a likable guy who's striving to be rewarded and respected and liked and to do things right. And
I guess where is that? Like, how do you find that endearing stuff as he gets closer to the dark side of Saul Goodman?
Yeah, he's completely burying that side of himself. He's disconnected himself from the desire to please. I think he's very wary of anything that feels like needing other people's approval, and wanting society or whatever to appreciate him. And he's starting to just reactionary response of like kicking back and pushing away any societal norms. He's going to be a rat, and he's going to love it.
Yeah, and as you say, like, it doesn't look good for where his relationship with Kim will head because of where we are in Breaking Bad. But where do you think his relationship with Kim is right now at the end of season 4?
Well, he's feeling kind of strong because he gets his law license back, and he does it with subterfuge, and he does it willingly and thoughtfully and consciously, and it works great. So he's feeling strong, like, look at me go. I feel like that is a likable energy in anyone, but Kim is obviously feeling distanced from him, even especially in this moment. So he's certainly going to try to bridge the gap with Kim, I think, and try to, come to her with the argument that this is me being great at what I do. How could you not like it? I feel like when you're in a couple and you're doing the part of you that works and that makes you happy, for the other person to deny that or not be enamored of it is very confusing. It's like, I thought you liked me. This is me, and in this case, she doesn't want to live her life, I don't think, on the wrong side of the law. So I don't know how they stay together. So, but I think he's going to try to win her over.
Yeah. And obviously this season we haven't had Michael McKean or Chuck, but he still was a big character in the season. How do you think?
Yeah.
How do you think his presence looms?
He's always there in Jimmy's heart and in his life story as this judgmental but high standard, this person he tried to live up to. If he could have had his way, Jimmy would have won his brother's trust and love and appreciation and in all the right ways. I mean, the truth is somehow Chuck's ego was going to keep him from ever giving Jimmy a chance. But it's hard for Jimmy to see that. And at this point, he's just running away from the whole world that Chuck lived in.
And as an actor, Bob, is Michael's performance still got a presence in the show as you approach scenes and things like that?
Sure. I mean, I think it's easy for me to recall Michael in that character and to feel the weight of his presence and his expectations that Jimmy is always, like I say, never, he always feels those eyes on him, For some of us, it's our mother or our father, but, it can be many people in your life who are that person you aspire to their approval. And I think it'll always stay with him that he wishes he had Chuck's approval.
Yeah. And do you think, with where Jimmy is, what would you say is at the heart of Jimmy McGill as a person?
He wants approval and he wants acceptance. At the least, he'd like respect, but he would take acceptance. And in that way, I think he's like a lot of people. I think that's the way he's relatable. Is he's not really asking for much, I don't think. And what he hasn't figured out is how to use his natural skills to get that acceptance. Although I guess he feels like he's getting closer to it because he wins at the end of season 4, and he gets a big win, getting his law license back in a short amount of time. But really, that's all he's asking for from people.
Yeah. And I guess that's why it could be so heartbreaking what could potentially happen with Kim, is because she's the one person who has given him acceptance and respect over the years. She's the one person who sort of hasn't given up and believed in Jimmy.
Yeah, she has given him acceptance and she's given him faith, but she's also looking at his choice, his overall choice to scam people and to use his own true feelings, as he does in front of that board, to con them. And that's kind of an awful, ugly thing. It feels wrong to her. And it's understandable. And probably also she thinks like there's just no future in it for them together.
Yeah. What do you, Bob, think about, what have you learnt the most over the course of being in Better Call Saul?
What have I learned? You mean from the story itself?
I would say as an actor, as a person, what's the thing that you've grown in or you understand now that you may have not understood 4 years ago?
I'm pretty different from Saul Goodman. I'm kind of the opposite in my dealings with people. Like I prefer kind of a blunt honesty, like so blunt that it can be appalling. You can make good comedy out of that too. And I mostly did comedy all my life. I wouldn't say I've developed an appreciation for it, but maybe it's a feeling that, look, everybody's got different skills and everybody wants to contribute their skills to whatever we're doing, the interaction, the project. And you have to accept people for what they've got to offer. And, everyone, at least at some point, they offer their skills in a genuine way. And they may not be what you have or what you prize, but it doesn't mean they're not being genuine in it. And I think that Jimmy is a genuine and mostly a good-hearted guy, especially when we first meet him in Better Call Saul. and then it gets turned into his worst instincts. He decides to learn the worst lessons from life's various blows. Anyway, I think, that's another lesson, but I think it's something I knew before, which is really the challenge in life is to try to learn the right lessons. It's just hard to do.
Yeah. And with where Jimmy, sorry, was at the very end of the season, how close do you think he is to Saul Goodman?
Oh, I think he's there. I think I really, I'm not sure that Peter Gould and Vince Gilligan feel this way, but I do. I feel that in his heart and in his mind, he's there. He's Saul. He just needs to get the office and sort of come up with the idea that, like, who will be the beneficiary of these particular skills? Who would value them the most? And I don't think it's a long journey to, drug dealers and scumbags are going to appreciate how fast and loose I play with the truth. And they're going to marvel at it and appreciate it and not in any way have any issue with being with a con job lawyer.
Yeah.
Whereas a law firm or, let's say a banker, a banking firm, or some respectable member of society, they would be less apt to want that kind of lawyer representing them because they have a certain status in the social scene that they want to maintain.
Yeah. What do you think? How much gas do you think still in the tank for Better Call Saul? How long do you see it potentially going?
I mean, I'd like to find out what happens to Gene, the character he is after Better Call Saul, after Breaking Bad. But I feel like, the way these guys tell a story, I feel like maybe 2 seasons, maybe.
Yeah.
I also like when the story speeds up. I'm kind of a hungry. I respect how good they are at picking things apart and slowing them down, but I like when things go a little faster. So for me, I feel like 2 seasons would be the outside of it.
Yeah, which would bring it close to the episode total of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, especially if the last. Yes, it would be.
You got about if you did 6 10-episode seasons, you're on 60. I think Breaking Bad had 62.
Yes. Okay, that'd be about right. I'd like to fall short of Breaking Bad.
Okay, well, if you did
Breaking
6,
Bad is the mothership.
yeah,
and we should be as big as them.
Okay, so no more than 6 seasons of 10 episodes really would.
Yeah, I mean that's my gut, but I'm not writing this story, so
yeah, no, of course. And I guess with what's it like? How have you found acting with Ray over the seasons? Because that relationship,
it's the best. Yeah. I mean, this season, 4th season, we had, I think, our best scenes together. And for me, my favorite scenes were the scenes of like a domestic interaction with Kim Wexler, Jimmy and Kim together in their house, just making breakfast and having a chat and maybe sharing something important, but in the context of life, carrying on, not stopping down to tell the other person some big news. But the smaller stuff, the scene in the bathroom where he says, "What the hell's wrong with me?" and she comforts him. The scene in the morning at breakfast where she says, "Are you going to go see that therapist?" And he says, "I just don't think that's right for me." And she's kind of understanding of that. I mean, those are really delicate, real feeling scenes that don't have these big plot movements in them, but are kind of massive scenes between a couple where you tell the truth to your partner and they listen without prejudice and kind of are accepting and forgive. Feel like that that's like an amazing thing to be given. And I feel like because Ray and I are such good friends, we're able to play those scenes well.
Yeah. What would you say? So some lightning round questions, Bob. Now, let's go with what was your favorite scene to act this season on the show?
That would be the scene in the bathroom with Kim Wexler where Jimmy says, "What the hell's wrong with me?" And she comforts him, and he says, "Yeah, I'll try to go see that therapist." And he's really just right there. He's just as present as any person could be on camera, and so is Kim Wexler.
What do you think, and it could be the same answer, was the biggest moment for Jimmy this season, the most sort of pivotal in terms of his journey?
The most pivotal moment is the end, the very end, where he is excited and happy and tells Kim, look what I did. I pulled it off. I tricked him, and you helped me. You were right, Kim. Thank you. You helped me. And then he goes, "It's all good, man." And we know he's going to be Saul Goodman now, and he's just so inspired by conning those people with his true feelings and manipulating his way back into legitimacy. Yeah.
You said how you're not like Jimmy or Saul. How are you most like Jimmy or Saul?
I relate to Jimmy's desire to find his place. Obviously I did comedy for a long time, and I did very well in comedy. But then I kind of rediscovered a different sort of place I could work. Not many people get a second chance that they didn't even ask for. Not many people get an opportunity to redefine themselves to their industry that they work in. And so that's a kind of an interesting thing of finding yourself and then refinding yourself. I think Jimmy goes through.
Yeah. What's been your favorite line as Jimmy or Saul Goodman? Or Gene, if you want to add Gene.
Yeah, Gene hasn't said much.
Yeah, he doesn't have many lines.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love when Saul is funny. What does he say to Walter White when he visits Jesse in the hospital? And he says, "Look, you're the prettiest beetle. Now you're the prettiest beetle. You're the most handsome beetle. You're the most handsome beetle." That's a pretty funny, screwed up line. I like the funny stuff that Saul gets to do. Yeah. I don't have any lines in the top of my head, but that one.
Yeah. And it was great to see the film crew back in some different roles this season too.
Oh, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys kill me. Yeah. I love doing the scam, where I'm on the phone playing the preacher. That was a really fun thing this season. I loved doing the New Orleans accent, the comical New Orleans accent that is pretty overstated. But it was very fun to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great. And last question about Better Call Saul before we quickly shift to something else. With Better Call Saul, what is it a show about? If you were to sum up the show in like a very short sentence or a word, what would you tell people the show is about?
The show is about finding your place in society, the most effective place for your personality and skills, and searching for that and finding it.
It's good. I like it. Now, Bob, I want to just finish off. I ask you each time we talk, what books are you reading at the moment? Get a few book recommendations from you.
I'm reading Naples 44. It's a British intelligence officer who's accompanying the American troops as they enter Naples at the end of World War II. It's just wrapping up, and it's his diary. And I'm reading Knausgaard, book 6, which is a really, really long book called My Struggle, Book 6. It's pretty good. It's not the best of the 6 books. I'm reading, I'm going to go over here because I'm reading some great books. I'm reading my friend Erin Carr's book, All That You Leave Behind, which is about her father, David Carr. Here's Naples 44, in case you were wondering. I'm reading Sticky Fingers, a book about what's his face, Jan Wenner, who ran Rolling Stone and is an awful person. I'm reading this great book, Hellhound on My Trail. So great. Hampton Sides, about Martin Luther King's last days. And I've got, what else? Oh, I just started, this is a great book, The Library Book by Susan Orlean. Yeah, so I got a couple more, but you wouldn't believe me anymore after that many. You might not believe me.
I remember when I bumped in when I see Rhea Seehorn, like we're always talking about how many books you're reading.
Yeah, I mean, if I get going on one that's really good, like that Susan Orlean book, like I might just stop reading everything else and blaze through that. You know what I mean? But like Naples 44 is a journal, so you can read 3 entries and be fascinated by basically it's human behavior in wartime and how awful it is. It's just stunning.
Yeah.
And so, you know what I mean? Like some things you can easily pick up and put down, you know?
Yeah. And when you when we talked last, you recommended The Postman Always Rings Twice, which I got when I was up there that year for the Emmys. I actually got that book.
Oh yeah, cool. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I loved it. I loved how short it was as well. It was great. But no, that was really good. I loved it. And I hadn't seen the movies of that, so I didn't really know where it was going or anything. And I loved there's the line, what is it? What is it? Stealing a man's wife, that's nothing. Stealing a man's car, that's larceny.
So great. So good.
Like, so great lines. Yeah, and that old sort of like that it was a great legal, ethical, moral sort of statement that you can see very much in the world of Better Call Saul, really. And you did say that if you recommended any book for Jimmy, it would be The Postman Always Rings Twice, perhaps because you were reading it at the time. Let's assume Jimmy's already read that book and maybe learned some lessons from it. What book would you recommend that he read next?
I want him to read a book that'll teach him that the ends don't really justify the means, but that's a tough one because it's the question is up in the air somewhat.
Yeah.
That would be the Bible. And I'm an atheist, but I guess that's meant to be I guess that to me the ultimate lesson of that book, right?
I guess the story of Jesus on the cross is that it's through suffering. You know, it's like his end is, through persecution, not necessarily through earthly military victory or anything like that.
Yeah. So, but the question is, would he buy it? I don't think he would.
No, probably not. Anyway. Bob, it's always such a pleasure talking, and Better Call Saul does so well at the awards with Emmy nominations and your Golden Globe nominations that you've had in the past and things like that. So all the best with them going forward.
Thank you so much. I love the appreciation and the attention to the show. I always think about all the writers who work so hard. They're the stars. The writing is the star of the show, and then the crew that gives their all to the show. So to me, the attention is really for everyone, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. Nah, thanks, Bob.
Thanks, man. All right.
Okay. We're done.